recording. All right, here we go. Welcome to the Pardon My Jerk podcast, a CrossFit podcast masquerading as a movie and football podcast. What's up, guys? I'm here with Dunk and Roby.
I still don't know my intro.
I've been slowly hoping we become a movie podcast the last month.
That's kind of the beautiful thing about the name is if we wanted to, we could just roll this over into a movie podcast and people are like, oh, that's a cute name.
So fun, so festive.
And then people will go back and read this is a really confusing first 40 episodes.
Yeah, I don't talk about any movies till episode 50. It's weird.
They just talk about the NFL draft and CrossFit. So, how you guys doing today?
Good, man.
Great. Weather's shitty.
Yeah, same here, man.
But yeah,
it's been bad all day.
So this week I've got you guys together because we've got a couple items on the table that we want to discuss that we're gonna go over. First and foremost, the official rosters for the CrossFit Games semifinals were announced, and we are going to give all of you listeners our picks for who we think was going to emerge onto the final stage of the CrossFit Games on the individual side. From there, today we have a debate. We are going to debate who has the more impressive total career between Fraser and Rich Froning. That didn't come out totally random. I pulled that from someplace else, and I just kind of wanted to expand upon it. We'll talk about it when we get there. And there's something else on the agenda today. What was the other thing we wanted to talk about today?
Buttery Bros doc.
Yes.
A movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. This is the movie podcast. I still actually didn't watch that trailer. I come.
The topics for today.
Yeah, man, you're the one that listed these out. I watched it right before we got on because it was the first time I'd seen it. It's only 50 seconds, man.
It's only okay. Well, then you can talk about it. You can sit in the host chair for a couple minutes and you can tell me all about it.
Let Roby take that one on.
So it's called. It's Resurgence, right? That's what it's called.
Resurgence.
I saw it a couple days ago. Yeah, I saw it a couple days ago.
Not sure what's resurging, but it is.
I don't know anymore.
Running out of cool names to get yourself pumped up about.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, the most recent doc that they made, I wasn't super impressed with. I think it was cool.
Save it for the Run It Back podcast. We'll share our opinions on that one because I was
with the 2020.
I wasn't even in your boat, Roby. I didn't even think it was cool.
I'm not gonna speak ill will of other content creators. Community. But
I don't think it was the content creator's fault.
I agree with that too. I agree with that. But anyway, so but first this week, Jerk Werk sent this one to Dunk this weekend that we did. This was one that caused me to question my faith in God. We went 4-time 15 calories on the assault bike, 15 thrusters at 95-65, 10 calories on the assault bike, 10 thrusters at 95-65, rest 1 minute, then go back to 10 cal bike, 10 thrusters, 10 thrusters, 10 cal bike, 15 thrusters, finish with a 15 cal bike. Took me about 7 minutes. And what's up?
This workout is far easier if there is no rest.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's the problem.
Right.
Man.
It's that 1 minute rest, man. It's always bait, bro. It's always bait. And it's a matter of whether or not you're going to take it.
Yeah, man. You're like, oh, that's great. I can breathe for a minute. But then you realize, oh, my legs just filled up to a point where I can't bend them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, man. This was because I archive all my programming now. And I was going back in months. And I'm like, nope. I say it all the time. I'm like, but this was probably the worst thing. That workout, I'm not kidding, is in my top 10 list of most painful workouts I've ever done. Because you can go unbroken.
Oh, you have to go unbroken.
Right? You can go unbroken. And when you get back on that bike, all you're thinking is I just want to coast. I just want to coast. God, and it's like, no.
When do you get to the point though where where you feel like you need to coast? Because like I feel like the first half, it's like your legs aren't blowing up by the time you're on the bike in that first half.
The middle 10 calories on the bike is by far the worst part of the workout. Because when you get to that final 15 cals, that last movement, last reps,
Just
like, you can just close your eyes, grit your teeth, goes 15 calories on the bike can take you 90 seconds or 10 seconds.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So just go as hard as you can, literally just empty that gas tank and it's done. And then you cry for 15 minutes like I did. But
I would be
the
rolling
middle
around
of
for
that
an
is like
hour.
that. Those 10 calories is nothing, and it just wouldn't end.
I'm
Let me
wondering
tell
though if like the strat is to just kill the bike every time. Just hit it as hard as you possibly can and get it over with in less than 10 seconds every time.
Dude, let me tell you something. I gave a tearful contribution to my diary that evening about that workout. That was so bad. Like, you know those workouts when you lay on the ground for a while afterwards, like making guttural pterodactyl sounds.
Yes.
Yeah. It was bad. And I'm not even good at the assault bike.
So workouts where you're laying on the ground, you're like, why do I kill myself? Why do I do this to myself on a normal basis?
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, so again, the workout is for time 15 bike, 15 thrusters, 95, 65, 10 bike, 10 thrusters, rest 1 minute, 10 thrusters, 10 bike, 15 thrusters, 15 bike. Oh my goodness gracious. So on to the next item on today's agenda. Let's talk about semifinals, guys. So CrossFit finally announced the official rosters. There were some surprising ones in there, people listed in there that I did not expect to see. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it later. But what I want to do is kind of put out our projections on who we believe, in our expert opinion, will be moving on to the next round. And we're doing the same thing on the power rankings. We're holding each other accountable. So after these events, we're going to go back and we're going to go over what our so don't delete this out of your phone.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got everything on hard copy, bro. I'm old school.
Well,
Pen
just
and paper,
like
maybe.
put that on the bulletin board, man. Right next to where it says, "What is Rich doing?" Just put your predictions. So
Let's do it.
let's do it. Dunk, why don't you go first?
I'll go first with the Torian Pro. My top 3 women are Cara Saunders, Maddie Sturt, and Laura Clifton.
Laura Clifton.
Yep. Simply because there's not a lot to choose from in this, and I don't know a lot of the names, and she finished in 3rd place in the quarterfinals in the individuals.
All right, quite the criteria there.
Yeah.
And who'd she beat out there? Any honorable mentions? It's going to be. I mean, they're only taking 3 people.
Yeah, there's not a lot of names that you know, like Ellie Turner, Christy Bishop, Marnie Sykes, Justine Beef. That was like top 8 for the quarterfinals.
No Alethea Boone.
She was way down there. She's there. She's in there, but like she's probably the only name you'd really recognize.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah. Hang on one sec. Alethea Boone, Jess Coughlin, but
yeah, a lot of like one and doners in
those are just
Oceania.
Names that kind of made something for themselves in regionals, really, and then haven't done much since.
Mm-hmm.
So for the men, I went Con Porter, number 1.
My man.
Baden Brown, number 2. And I'm going Royce Dunn, number 3.
So we need to take some time to talk about the men's Oceania semifinals because that is very competitive. There are some heavy hitters in that division.
It is.
I'm bringing them up now because there's a lot of guys that are going to be on the outside looking in out of Oceania that in all honesty deserve to be there.
Yeah, I think like I don't know much about this Jay Crouch guy who finished 1st in the quarterfinals, but he can make it. Rob Forte is good. Brandon Swan's a good athlete. These are all guys that have been around for a while. You got Zeke Grove. James Newberry is way down. He did not do well in the quarterfinals, but I mean, he's been a name that's been around for a long time.
So that's how competitive that continent has gotten, though, that James Newberry pretty much owned that continent for the last few years.
Yeah.
And he dropped down to 15th in the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
Where same with Zeke Groves. Zeke Groves has been very successful there since 2015. He's in 11th, you know? So this guy, Jay Crouch, though, if I'm not mistaken, took first in the Oceania quarters and took first in Oceania in the Open as well, I think.
May pull it up.
But
Jay Crouch first in the Open too, by a significant margin.
Right. So I remember him like kicking the shit out of everybody. The reason I bring him up, so like I think he's kind of new to the scene, relatively speaking, but I think he's a disciple of Rob Forte. I think he's his Padawan. But this dude is like so far been like dominating the Oceania scene here this year. He's like their Scott Panchik.
So I went with Royce Dunn, number 3. One, I mean, everybody knows Royce Dunn. He's a mayhem guy. But if you look at his finishes in the quarterfinals, it is so workouts 2 through 5. He finished second place, 22nd place, first place, first place.
Damn.
The first workout just was not good for him. Like any strength workout, he's going to win. Any workout with the GHDs and rope climbs, he's going to do well in. Like,
right.
And the cardio equipment, he's going to kill too. So I kind of gave him an edge for that reason.
Yeah, he's like 225 pounds. Like handstand push-ups aren't going to be a great movement for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, he's going to win all of the strength events pretty easily, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I kind of gave him the edge over some of these guys that I don't have much of a history with.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, wait till we get to Europe. That's where it gets really fun with those. Yeah. Anyway, Robe, you want to go next?
Yeah, man. I'll do start with the Granite Games. All right. Let me pull my go back so I can get some numbers for you guys. We'll start with the women.
Looking at that roster that is loaded.
The Granite Games. So I have Paige Powers going, Christy O'Connell, Carolyn Connors, Alessandra Pacelli, and Stephanie Chung.
Interesting selections.
You don't have the 2 teens? Are they eligible?
That's I didn't put them on the list because I wasn't 100% sure.
I feel like
if they were eligible.
I feel like they have to be.
Once you're on the roster, you're good to go, right?
Yeah, if they're competing in this, and they have to.
Well then, Emma Carey and Mallory O'Brien still have. I
do
chance to go too.
I do feel like it's questionable that either of them will perform well here, just because
that was also kind of my thought was, is the spotlight going to be too big for them at this point in their career, where they're going up against some of these heavy hitters that have gone to the games numerous times, a couple of different regional athletes. Carolyn Connors is just clicked off her profile for some reason. She's a very interesting athlete to look at. Let me pull up her stats here.
Well, that too, and like these young guys, they never. I mean, I know they've done like the teams division at the games and stuff, but like how many weekend long, 3-day, 4-day long events have they done in their life? You know,
yeah.
This isn't an online qualifier for the Open.
Exactly, and that was kind of my thought too.
There's the element too of, we're kind of taking them out of their controlled environment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. When you do the online qualifier thing, and this isn't just about them. Honestly, you can say this about Jake Berman. You can say this about Emma McQuaid. You can say this about Jake Marconi. Like
Sarah
there's
Sigmund's
a lot
daughter.
When someone's deciding what time you have to go for your heat, when there's everybody's watching, when you don't have the backup jump rope ready, when you don't, when you didn't get enough time to warm up the way you wanted to, you didn't sleep the way you wanted, like. That stuff affects people, and especially if you don't have experience with that, I feel like that can significantly come into play, especially as a teenager, first time kind of not a ton of experience, I should say, around the block on this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's super interesting. That's going to be one of the more fun ones to watch, just because of the storylines that are kind of there.
Programming is going to come into play big time as well.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be the case for everyone.
Yeah. Well, there was some So yeah, and did you put Andrea Neisler in there?
I did not know.
It's
Really?
yeah,
No.
He's a beast, man.
yeah,
I know. But I like the dark horses, you know.
yeah. Fair enough.
So for the guys, I have Chandler Smith. I think he's going to win the whole thing.
My man.
Tim Paulson, Saxon Panchak, Paul Castillo, and Blair Chapman.
Man, you went with Tim Paulson.
Mhm.
That's
was
a
a
respectable pick, Roby. Don't listen to him.
Dude, I'm telling he's
That's a
consistent.
2016 take right there.
But he's got the experience. He's consistent. I still went with a somewhat kind of old head, Paul Castillo. Guy's been around the block. He knows the game. And I was impressed with Blair Chapman in the qualifiers. I thought the kid did great. We saw him in the Rogue Invitational do really well too. So,
Did you include Panchak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, dead ass
Yeah.
serious. Watch out. I got a dark horse for you to watch out for here. Kyle Kasperbauer. They're taking 5 names. Besides maybe Saxon and Chandler Smith, find me someone on that list that Kyle Kasperbauer cannot beat.
Man, that name, that was not what I was expecting you to say. I was expecting like somebody that I didn't know, and then you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, is he on the list?
No, like there's some other guys that could be in the mix, like Scott Tetlow, Drew Wayman, the
Yeah,
Michigan guy.
I like Drew Wayman. He's always like the last person out though. He's like, he'll finish in 6th place.
Yeah.
Mhm. Dude, Kyle Kasperbauer?
Kyle Kasperbauer's won the 35 to 39 Masters division, I think more than once now.
Yeah. He's legit, man.
But on the Granite Games roster?
Yep. Looking at him right now.
Yeah.
Me too.
You got the wrong roster then, bro.
Because I'm looking at it, man.
No, I got
We don't
North
need to read them
American
all.
Granite Games men.
Well, 2 outweighs 1.
Yeah,
You
either
lose.
way. Yeah.
Guys.
But you're talking about a guy that also took 2nd at the CrossFit Games. 3rd. I know he's podiumed at the games as an individual.
Yeah.
You know, so
No, I'm not saying he's a bad. No, I'm not saying. I don't have him on this roster right in front of me on the games website.
is that where you're? I'm looking at Instagram.
Oh yeah, see, I'm on the games website.
This is CrossFit Games post that I'm looking at on Instagram.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. I'm looking at the
one that you sent
post
me.
from CrossFit Games.
I'm on the website, and it doesn't have Kasperbauer in the men's division.
Interesting.
Well,
Well,
pull up Roby and just prove you wrong.
well, while
That's
Dunk is
fine,
doing
I'm
that,
not saying it doesn't. I don't know.
while Dunk's doing that, we'll go ahead and move on over to me. So, I'm going to do the Lowlands Throwdown. So this one's where it got kind of tricky because I had to keep in mind for this that this is an online competition. You know what I mean? So that's going to affect the outcome of this, right? So I'll start with the women. I'm going to go. This is in order. First place, I'm going to go Laura Horvath. I think she's going to win it. I just think she's got it this year, man. I think it's Laura Horvath like revenge tour. Like she's just shushing the haters this whole offseason or this whole part of the season. Second, I'm going Karen Friova.
I don't hate that pick.
She's like a middle of the road sort of name, but like Europe is a handful of like usual suspects and then a ton of people that are unknowns because we haven't seen them compete. Like most of the people competing at a high level in Europe right now started around that 2018 time. So we have like a regionals for them. And then a lot of them qualified for the games in 2019 and they got cut. And that's all the information we have on them. But Karen Friova, she went to the games in 2019 and she finished 21st. Right. So she was very impressive. She's strong. So I'm taking her for 2. 3, I'm going Annie Thorisdottir. I'm not going to bet against that woman in live competition. At this point,
problem is it's not live. It's an online event.
That's true. I'm still taking her though. Just at this point, the event could be like literally jump off a cliff and fly. And I'd be like, well, Annie can do that. From there, I'm going Gabriella Magala. She's been performing at a really high level. I think she's like the number 2 ranked woman going into these semifinals.
She is.
There's no reason not to believe that she won't make it. And then 5, I wasn't crazy about this one, but this is kind of like the online effect here. I'm going Emma McQuaid, just because in that sort of environment, she thrives. She's like the female open athlete. And then honorable mention here, the one I just want to make sure I throw in there that I think is going to be right on the cut line is Turi Helgadottir.
She's always there.
Yeah.
She's always in the mix.
Always on the cut line, yeah.
Yeah, she's always in the mix, and I just think this is the year that some new names kind of leapfrog her a little bit. She's been in the mix for a long time. I think it's just some other names are going to kind of jump over her. So, did I leave anybody out?
No, I think you hit pretty much everybody. I mean, yeah, there's not anyone else that stands out.
So next we have the men, and this one I had to spend a lot of time reading on to kind of come to a decision here. First, BKG, signed, sealed, delivered. Just, he's locked and loaded to win it. From there we have Oldis Upanikas. Just a guy you've been seeing like on the leaderboard for the Open, like for a long time, performs at a high level. This is going to be an online competition. He seems to thrive there. And he's been performing in the Open for several years. I think this is just a breakthrough opportunity for him.
Mm-hmm.
3, Adrian Munweiler, pretty strong, insane engine, games vet. There's no reason to think he's not going to make it. This is where it got tough. So number 4, I'm going Simon Mantila. He and Reggie Fossa. Reggie Fossa is the number 1 ranked athlete going into this semi. They're literally the exact same athlete. Like they tied on 2 different quarterfinal events. They tied. Exact same score.
Dude, they tied on 3.
3 different quarterfinal events they tied. They're the exact same athlete. I just gave the heads up to Mantila because he's just been doing it longer. He has games experience. He went to the 2019 games and he performed well there. I know it's an online format, but I just think he's just a little bit more experience, more time to sort of move that goalpost, move the needle for himself there. And then number 5, I couldn't help myself. I'm going Bronislaw Olenkowicz.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to put him in.
Dude.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
That guy needs to make the game just so he can do something stupid.
Just because
Like,
he's the most entertaining person out there.
It's like as long as him and Tola are at the games, we're good.
Yeah, Bronislaw Olenkowicz is like the Rob Gronkowski of CrossFit. He's just kind of an ogre. It's going to do something stupid, but it's going to be super entertaining to watch when it happens.
You got to keep him around.
Yeah, we'll keep him around for that. And then my honorable mention, just the one guy I said is right on the cut line. I have Reggie Fossa. If you look at his numbers, there's no reason to believe he won't make it, except that he's just about as green on the vine as it's pretty much going to get. Mm-hmm. So I'm venturing to say that he's just not ready yet.
So my only argument is that this event is basically just another quarterfinal. So why wouldn't the guys that finish towards the top of the quarterfinals finish towards the top of this semifinal? You know what I mean?
You're right.
It's like nothing's really changing.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. And you probably could just go. I just didn't want to look at it and just go straight chalk, because you probably could just look at that leaderboard and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and those are pretty much the guys are going to get it. But for the sake of argument,
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be because I got the Atlas one coming up too, and that's kind of my mindset. I was like, this is just the same thing as the Open. It's the same thing as the quarterfinals. This isn't a real live event, so there's no added pressure. There's none of that. So
that's a strong point. Well, why don't you just roll into the Atlas games then?
All right, the Atlas games. Number 1, I've got Tia. Easy. Number 2, what?
Tia who?
Never heard of her.
Tia Orr.
It's Must be new.
2, Paige Semenza. 3, Emily Rolfe. I went 4, Emma Lawson, and then 5, Mackenzie Riley.
It's a weird semifinal.
Yeah, that's
It's a weird lineup.
There wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot to choose from there. But
Really?
like I said, this is one of those ones where I kind of stuck to the leaderboard of the quarterfinals in the Open. If you finished well in those online events, I assume you're probably going to finish well in this one. So
Okay, so I have a couple objections. One, no love to Caroline Reason to go.
No.
2,
no love to Tennille Reed Berline
or
Tennille
China
Berline.
Cho.
She's been team for the last 2 years.
Dude, you're leaving a lot of seasoned athletes out on this
No,
one.
I do. I like it.
Are you going to question me for leaving Danny Horan off too?
You.
No. 2, under what, like, we need to find a way to campaign to see to it that Freya Moosebrugger gets into the games.
Freya Moosebrugger.
Moosebrugger, just because that's the greatest last name I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm trying to buy one of those jerseys.
I want the shorts. I want Moosebrugger down my leg.
Booty shorts. With the booty shorts.
All right. I there's definitely a strong argument for going chalk on this because it is an online competition. So I'm really curious. Like, I want to see one of these competitions have the balls to like mail somebody equipment. You know what I mean? Like here's like a heavy D ball or something like that. And you have to use hours. Right. You know what I mean? Just to make it like a competition, you know?
Yeah.
Or mail somebody like a yoke and you have to walk with a heavy yoke.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I want them to do something where they're like, all right, you need to go to a football field with a track. Everybody has that within like a 30-mile radius. Like you can go find one. Like that would be a good one. Because like I feel like a lot of these online events, there's not going to be a lot of running. There's not going to be anything like tested outside. So
right.
Well, they had him do it for the games last year.
That was
the game.
The way they did it in the games last year, though, was the judge measured from where they were performing their workout, and he or she would measure that distance. And what they did is they had them take barbell collars, and they dropped them at the 600-meter mark.
Yeah.
And when they went on the run, they had to bring one of those barbell collars back with them. It's kind of an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, and that was more of a standard. That was more they sent the judge, and the judge was able to control all that.
Right.
Like
I don't know if they're doing that for this or not, though.
I doubt that the semifinals are doing that.
I doubt it.
All right, so for the men, kind of my same thought process. I went number 1, Jeffrey Adler. Number 2, P. Vellner. Number 3, Sam Cornier.
Naturally.
I got to show some love. Number 4, Alex Vigneault.
Don't do it. Don't you fucking do it. Don't you fucking do it. I know what you want to say right now.
Number 5, Brent Fikowski.
There, okay, good. Good.
Wait,
I was about to terminate this podcast.
Where were you thinking I was headed with that?
I thought you were going to say anybody but Brent Fikowski.
I thought about it, man. This online stuff is just not for him.
It's also a very difficult. It is a very difficult.
There's a lot of names on there that I left out. Like Logan Collins is an average CrossFit Games athlete, but he's still a CrossFit Games athlete. Like Paul Tremblay's strong as shit. So was I'm not even gonna Griffin Rawl, but like that's all he's good at.
But hold on. Don't neg the name of Logan Collins. Go back and look at his games finishes. Logan Collins is legit. He's good.
I always get those guys, the smaller guys, mixed up. Like they just kind of run together. Like Patser,
you're thinking, you put him in like you're putting him in the same grouping as like Dakota Rager, and like Jeff Patser, and like those. No, Logan Collins is little but fucking good.
Yeah.
No, I know. But still, like he's not winning the games.
2 people finished the Fibonacci final. One of them's name was Matt Fraser. The other one was Logan Collins. The first time they did the Fibonacci final.
Yeah, I knew that. So, but yeah, there's a lot of like big names on the guys for this one. Like Alexander Caron's a big one. There's a guy in this named Stephanie.
But you have Alex Vino, Tyler Christophel's a great online qualifier athlete. So yeah, that's a tough division. And Griffin Roll, I mean,
Strong.
he made it to the games last year.
He's strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
I wouldn't.
You can't sleep on him.
I'm not going to leave Fikowski out because he's earned the benefit of the doubt, but it wouldn't shock me to see him have to earn it through the last chance qualifier, which I hope they manage to do in person. They have to.
They won't. There's no way they're going to do it in person. You're pulling people from all over the planet.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing that for the games, though.
But that's the games.
Do the
and they don't pay for people to do that. Make people pay to get there.
All right, fine.
All right, Roby, you're up. West Coast Classic?
Cheap asses. All right, for the women, the West Coast Classic's kind of usual suspects. Carrie Pierce, Danny Spiegel. I put Allison Scudds in there. Lauren Fisher, Bethany Shadburn.
Bro, you left your girl off.
Who?
Danielle Brandon.
Danielle Brandon's not going to make it out of there.
What are you talking? I didn't see her on the fucking list.
So a caveat here. Roby is looking at the correct list. We are looking at the list of invites. They sent out these as invites.
I'm looking at the.
Oh shit! Roster. Really?
Yeah.
So so Andrea Neisler still might be going team.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it
got you.
Does not appear according to the website that Danielle Brandon is competing.
Why would Brandon not accept the invite though?
I don't know. Consult the game site for the official roster.
Plans that weekend or something.
Yeah, I don't know. She might be going team. She might just not want to compete.
With who?
I have no
Who's
idea.
she going team with?
I don't know.
Is she going team with Tola and Shadburn and one of those guys?
Shadburn's on the individual.
Is she?
Yeah.
She's on here.
Yeah, she's on the roster. Yeah.
Interesting. She has to be going individual.
What's the point? Yeah, I mean, what's the point if she's not?
Well.
So Roby, tell us your list again, because we erupted as soon as you finished.
I have Carrie Pierce, Danny Spiegel, Allison Scudds, Lauren Fisher, and Bethany Shadburn making it. I do have two honorable mentions though. Chelsea Hughes is legit. She's been a games athlete before, so she may stand a chance to make it back. And Caroline Dardini from Philly has been teetering on the edge for a long time.
She from Philly?
Originally, yeah. I don't know what she's doing on the West Coast now, but she may have a chance to make it this year too. She's got some pretty solid finishes. Would be cool to see Sydney Wells shake it up too.
I'm gonna say, hopefully, she's not gonna. I just don't think it'd be cool to see her hold her own.
Yeah, I just don't think that she's that serious about it.
Mm-hmm. I think she probably is now. She's probably this is probably her first year. She's like, oh wait, I might be good at this.
She's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what was the what caused the Allison Scudds decision?
She's just been shaking it out. She is not a bad athlete. I think that she definitely has some weaknesses. But if you look at her finishes, 2019 the Open 61st, 2018 43rd, 2020 96th. She took, but she's not a terrible athlete.
She went to the games on team, right?
Yeah.
She went
fifth place in 2019
with Central Beasts.
I don't know, man. She just strikes me as one of those people that's more interested in their social media account and gaining followers than going to the games. But she trains with she's a brute strength athlete, right? She trains with them, and their brute strength knows what they're doing over there. So
I'm curious to see how Danny Spiegel's going to do.
Yeah.
What's that?
I might be putting my foot in my mouth.
I'm curious how Danny Spiegel's going to do, because she's typically you're really good on the online stuff and then kind of just average when the events become live.
I think she'll make it.
I think with her, though,
think she'll make it.
I think with her, a lot of it's up here. Honestly,
I think winning the Titan Games was a huge confidence boost for her for in-person comps.
Because she doesn't seem like the type of athlete that would only be good online. With what she's good at. So I think a lot of it is she just gets in person. It's just she falls apart up here.
Yeah.
So with experience, that could change for her.
Yeah. I don't think she's a good runner.
Probably not, but that her versus Carrie Pierce, I think, could be very interesting to watch. That's like a matchup to watch if we put that list out there.
Yeah.
Could be a good one.
Storylines, matchups to
Yeah,
watch.
storylines to watch. That could be a good one.
I think with Pierce and Shadburn training together now, I think those two are probably shoe-ins. Pierce for sure is a shoe-in.
I don't think Shadbird's a shoe-in.
But
speaking of like mental breakdowns,
Yeah.
she just to me seems kind of just fragile.
she's got a new coach. Been training with Pierce.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Hey, there's no reason to think she won't. She's been to the games how many times? She's had a great year this year. There's no reason to think she won't advance.
But she took a lot of time off too to address injuries, address some of those off the court issues, we'll say. So I definitely think she comes back strong. So
your men.
Again, basically just following party lines here with the men. Noah Olson wins it for sure. Spencer Panchak, Cedric
for sure is a hot take, I feel like.
I think Olson walks away with it.
This is a tough This is a tough one, man.
And I took Sean Sweeney.
Sweeney.
And I took Cole Sager too.
Say it again. So say your 5 one more time. Sorry, we interrupted you.
Olson, Panchak, Cedric Lapointe, Sean Sweeney, and Cole Sager.
Roby?
Now there's a couple snubs.
Yeah.
I will acknowledge my snubs.
I respect your list. I do.
There's
a lot of people that love Sean Sweeney, but there are some guys on that list that I love. But please, by all means, I'll say what after you go.
I know for the listeners, I snubbed Alex Smith.
No,
I just don't think he's got it. I just don't think he's got it.
That is like the furthest down of the snubs that you have.
I will give props to Will Morad. He does have
Will Morad
has a chance. Brandon Luckett too. He was like my number 6.
Awesome regionals in 2018.
Yeah,
he's a misfit guy. Right?
Is definitely no joke.
Yes.
So those are my guys. Jake Berman. The only thing I remember about Jake Berman is him dying on that tornado workout at the Rogue.
Oh, was that guy?
Yeah, the dude that like almost had a heart attack on the assault bike. So
poor guy.
Dude, you could make an entire another podium just from the men's side of this comp that's stronger than like the European side. Like that's stronger than like the German throwdown. Because the two that you didn't even mention that I love is Tola, first of all. I want to see that guy in competition.
Yeah.
And second of all, the guy I love is Dallin Pepper. Dallin Pepper is an animal.
Is he one of those guys, like one of the teen guys? It was like he's super young, like he was an up and comer, like kind of like Samuel Quant was back in the day.
I think Dallin Pepper's 18. Okay. I think he won the games. I'll look it up real quick while we're talking. I think he won the games as for the teen division.
Yeah, I remember
2018.
I remember
2018.
Yeah, boys 16 to 17 in 2018 he took first. 2019 he took second.
Homeboy looks like Samuel Quant.
And then this year in the Open he was. Oh no, I'm sorry, I misspoke. He took first in 2019 for the games too.
He took first 2019, 2018, 2017.
Sorry, I was looking at his Open rankings by accident.
But so he's like but I would take him over someone like Angelo DiCiccio because Dallin Pepper is 18, 19 years old and can snatch well over 300 pounds.
Yeah, I was about to say, you see this kid's numbers?
Yeah, dude. He is an animal.
425 back squat, 360 clean and jerk, 300 snatch.
Yeah. He can snatch, I think, well over 300 now.
Yeah, I don't know how much they update these CrossFit game sites.
So it's like, you know what, Panchik, Olson, BK, enjoy your stay at the top now because this kid is going to be unstoppable in 2 years.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Do we think Tola is that good, or do we just want Tola to be that good?
The latter.
Yeah, I think we just want Tola to be.
Yeah, I just want to see him in competition.
Yeah,
he's just awesome. He's the coolest guy ever.
I love watching him lift, but like outside of that, like there's not.
He
doesn't have much. Like he doesn't I mean, he finished 57th at the Open this year.
All right, so I'll go. I got the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge. Women, I mean, the first four, I'm going straight chalk. So number 1, Haley Adams. Let's move on. Number 2, Amanda Barnhart. That's going to be a great matchup in person. Number 3, Brooke Wells. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to get too cute with this, right? Number 4, Number 4 is Fee Sagafi.
I like it, man.
Yeah,
She's having a great year. Great year. She won a quarterfinal event.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then at my number 5, this is where it got tough because it's like a lot of up and comers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Christine Colenbrander. So I look back on her. First of all, she had a very solid open performance. She was a multi-time member of Team CrossFit 417 out of Ozark, Missouri. Very, very, very competitive team. So I'm looking at her numbers. She's still young. Candidate, I think, this year to make the leap. So I think she's going to sneak into that number 5 spot. I have her edging out Chloe Wilson, really good online athlete. But I just think Colenbrander's got her on a games experience and live competition experience. So,
no love for
what's
Becca,
up?
No love for Becca Voigt.
No,
She's been around like how long has she been around for, man? Like 13
Listen,
years?
yeah. You're not going to find a whole lot of people who love Becca Voigt more than me, but you know where she's going to finish in that. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna have a couple decent events that allow her to finish above like the bottom quarter maybe, and that's going to be that.
She's going to have one really good event where they like get the chance to like highlight her.
Right.
Yeah. That'll be it.
Well, the story's going to be like
savage.
Does she make it back for another year?
So
no.
Jesus, so the men's side of Mac, Jesus, man, where do you even?
Tough. Yeah,
this is another
tough.
one. It's like I could make a whole nother podium. Like this is like an all-star game. So we got so first place, I'm going Scott Panchik, and that was tough. Just landing on that was tough, right? Number 2, Justin Medeiros. My guy, number 3, Travis Mayer. I think this whole training environment for him has really helped him a lot. Everything they're doing down at Training Think Tank, all that, like, what are they, it's like training with the boys or whatever they call it out there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's going out of his mind right now. And he's a gamer, man. He performs in person. Number 4, I didn't want to put him on the list, but I couldn't really think of a good reason not to. Sam Quant. I guess they got some seconds. What's your
reason for not wanting to put on the list?
Because I just don't like going chalk. Like I want to see, because there's so many other names on this list. I just want to see one of those other guys sneak in there.
I got you.
And then number 5, Ben Smith. I just think the guy's got one more run left in him, man. He looks like Christian Bale at the beginning of Dark Knight Rises. He's like all haggard and shit. Like
movie
he just looks at this point in his career, he just looks like he's been rode hard and put away wet. This man has seen some shit.
Dude, the best part is he is fully embracing like the dad bod strength thing on his Instagram. It's like he's pushing it.
He's like, but you're like every time I see him, I'm like, dude, you look like JJ Watt at the end of like the off season. He's like all haggard and just bearded, and he's put on a bunch of weight and shit. You know what I mean? So I think he's got one more good run left in him, man. But Jesus, man, I had to narrow down my honorable mention list of people that I wanted to throw in there. So I don't know, guys that are on the outside looking in, this is going to be such a tight race. I got Marquand Jones. I got Adam Klink. I wanted to put Adam Klink in there so bad, but I'm like, I can't put Adam Klink as beating Ben Smith. Like that's not likely to happen. Christian Harris is amazing. Zach Watts is another guy, like, you know, he's done well in the sanctional environment. He's a great open athlete. And then I didn't want to say it, but Luke Parker.
Oh yeah, he's back.
I don't want to put the dude from The Bachelor in there, or the Bachelorette, right? He was on the Bachelorette, right?
Was he in the Bachelorette?
I thought he was on the Bachelorette. What? I'm going to look like a real idiot if this isn't true.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Somebody get to Googling, and I'll stretch for time. But the guy, I think he's relatively new to the sport. If he's even on the roster, because he might have been. This might be another Adrian Munweiler situation.
He's there. He's there.
Is he okay?
Oh, that's okay.
I was thinking it
I thought
was Lucas
the other
Parker.
Lucas Parker.
No,
Lucas
not
Yeah,
Lucas Parker. Luke Parker.
No.
So this guy, he's training down in Mayhem.
Yeah,
9 times
this
a
guy,
day with
yeah,
Rich
this guy was
Froning.
on the Bachelorette. Yeah, he was like the villain.
Right, but yes, so that's I've heard multiple people watch when he was in the games behind the scenes of the doc or whatever. They were like, that guy was in the Bachelorette. He was a douchebag. But like I've heard that was kind of just the way he was portrayed.
It's in his
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's in his games profile. He puts in there. Former ABC Bachelorette contestant, season 15.
Why
And
wouldn't
the
it?
world needs to know.
Why
And
wouldn't
a
it?
rose emoji. It's like, bro, the whole world hated you on that show. They
Yeah, I
never,
know.
like,
I've heard some stuff that was like that was just kind of the way they edited it, and you
Yeah.
know, you're on a reality. I don't know, man, but
it's reality TV.
right.
And it does.
So it's like with the way you know that guy's training, you got to put him in the mix, but
Mhm.
I don't see him getting in. Not against that competition. Jesus.
Yeah, should have picked another semifinal, bro.
So we got one left, right?
Yep. It's me. Let's go to the German throwdown.
Dunk has one more.
For the women, I got finishing first, Kristen Holta. Number 2, Emma Tall. 3, Katrin. 4, Sam Briggs. And 5, Erica Ekelund.
There's somebody on the outside looking in there. There's somebody good that you left out.
Solomonson Hellman's there. Yeah, I don't think so.
No?
Jacqueline Dahlstrom.
Yeah, that's who it was. I like Jacqueline Dahlstrom a lot. She did that the international she did the IFFF.
Mm-hmm.
She took second in the world competition there.
She
To
finished-
Kristen Holta. I think her and
finished-
Holta trained together.
She finished 64,000th in the Open this year.
I feel like that might not be an accurate representation of her fitness level.
I just don't know how that's possible.
64,000th.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. 935th in Norway. How did she make it to a semifinal?
Maybe it's using the top percent. I don't know. I guess Norway's not that fit of a country. So
I know where I'm moving to.
yeah. So I know I'm a fan of hers. I thought she would make it.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, I can see it. All right, for the men, I've got number 1, Jonakovsky. And then after that, doesn't matter. I'm just kidding.
And after
2,
that, I don't know. Pick someone.
2, Georgios Karovas.
Yeah.
3, Lucas Esslinger. 4, Alex Kudelis. And
Yep.
5, Lazar Dukic, just because the infamous wall ball row workout scandal.
I'd probably go 5 for 5 with you on that one. I'm pretty much with you on all 5 of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have much to say about it.
The only other one I might throw in there is Josh Wittrup, just because I've seen him do in-person competition before, but
Nice.
it's kind of anyone's game. We're going
Right.
to learn a lot about Europe from these semifinals because there's just a lot of people we've never seen compete before.
You wouldn't.
You got throwing like Elliot Simmons in there.
I was gonna say you wouldn't put Elliot Simmons in there.
I feel like Elliot Simmons is more famous just because he's married to Jamie Simmons. Like he's just a name that we know because
on
he's
a-
been around.
He
I
was
know
on
he's
the team
been-
that won the games.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a prior games athlete.
He was on the team that Jamie Simmons won the games with CrossFit Yaz. He was on that team
He never won the games.
Well, he took
or
third.
team, right?
Never won.
Third
Place was his highest finish.
CrossFit Yaz.
Oh,
And
well,
26th in 2018 individual, 19th 2019 individual.
anyway,
Pretty good regionals career.
well,
What do we think that the best semifinal is? The most interesting one.
It's definitely a North American one. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah,
The men's Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
That'll
I
be
don't know. The men's Atlas games is pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think just the MAC is just the most interesting one.
Yeah.
And that one with Spiegel and the one with Spiegel that Roby had.
That West Coast.
West Coast, that's going to be a tough one too.
It's a shame that the Atlas games is online because they've got a lot of heavy hitters there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That the Canadian one is going to be tough, but I think for the women's side, it's West Coast. I think for the men's side, it's MAC.
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to be freaking bloodbaths, man. The way people are going to go at it.
Looking forward to it.
I got it. So now I got to take these. You guys got to send me this. I got to make a master list.
Okay.
I got to make a master list just to hold up when it comes around game season. I'm going to read through it and we're going to see what aged well, what aged poorly.
Dude, I'm excited to rub the Travis Mayer one in your face.
You don't think he's going to make? You think he's going to win it?
No, I just think he's going to do well.
I
didn't have him. I think he's going to do well. I had him pretty high on my power rankings, but I didn't have him finishing first.
Let's get down to brass tacks because that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Let's get down to the discussion at hand. So I want to qualify this question and why I brought it up. So I was listening to Ben Bergeron's podcast the other day, and they were doing like a 3 minutes answer. One of their the things that they do where they ask listener questions, and one of the listener questions that was presented to them was who has had the more impressive career? Was it Matt Fraser or was it Rich Froning? And they only spent a couple minutes talking about it. Obviously, Ben Bergeron's going to be a little jaded towards who the person that he favors, considering Matt Fraser was an athlete that he coached. But I would really like to kind of take that question, which is much bigger than just 3 minutes can really touch on, in my opinion, and sort of titrate it out and expand upon it. And us sort of see if we can kind of come to a conclusion on who we think had the more impressive total career. Matt Fraser or Richard Froning Jr.? Anybody care to start?
Roby got it.
Hold on. That was great podcasting. Just so you guys know.
You know how they always say, like, you should never have dead air? We are the kings of dead air.
We're good at it.
No.
So
I talk constantly. That was just so bad.
All right. So I'm going to go with Froning on this one. I think he's had a more impressive overall career. Be it Fraser's career was much shorter than his, but that Froning went from multiple individual championships to now multiple team championships, to me shows that he's had a more impressive career and has shown to be a more versatile athlete than Matt Fraser, making the transition to the team game, because the team and individual are so different.
So let's start with like the basic sides of this, right?
Yeah.
So essentially what you're looking at here is Matt Fraser. I don't really think there's any kind of argument at all that Matt Fraser didn't have a more dominant and successful individual career, right? And that's what we're kind of examining here, is what Rich Froning has accomplished on the team level, it goes further than that when I did my research, is what Rich Froning has done on the team level more impressive over the longer period of time than what Fraser was able to accomplish in his 6 years in the sport, 7 years in the sport, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 7 years in the sport. That's a long time.
Yeah.
You know,
2 second place finishes, 5 first place finishes.
Froning only had 1 second place finish, 4 first place finishes, 1 second place finish on team, and 4 first place finishes on team. 15, 16, 18, 4. 19.
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
It's like this is such a big question. It's difficult to even really think of where to start, right? Mm-hmm. So, Roby, I'm glad that you at least kind of came out and put your flag in the ground, because
I'm sure you guys probably dug up some crazy percentages because you guys are numbers nerds about how like Froning had this many points over his career compared to Fraser had this many points over his career. I'm just planting the flag.
Yeah, good for you.
Right.
All right.
Okay, try nerd shit.
So all right. So I'll give you some statistics that I did find. Okay, I'll try to make this sound as good as I can. In Rich Froning's individual career, and this is what makes it hard to compare, because when you compare team numbers to individual numbers, a lot of team workouts have nothing to do with Rich. Like when you watch the game for teams, a lot of stuff they score them in like pairs. So it'll be everybody does 30 bar muscle ups and 30 deadlifts and they'll go in pairs, and each pair gets into their own score. So Rich literally has nothing to do with anything besides his coaching and leadership and programming and culture and that kind of stuff, right? So Rich Froning in his individual career he lost by 3 points, won by 93, won by 114, won by 72. He won by 50 points. Matt Fraser lost by 50, lost by 36, won by 197, won by 216, won by 220, won by 35, and then 2020 is kind of Bush. It's won by 545 points. Stupid. Mayhem, Team Mayhem has won by 5, won by 119, lost by 48, won by 112, and won by 198. So in 2019, they were getting into Fraser territory. So it's interesting because Froning's team is almost as dominant as Fraser was as an individual.
Froning's team has been a super team since he started doing team, as opposed to super teams weren't around but for 1 year while Froning was competing as a team athlete.
No.
Yeah.
No, they changed the rules for super teams in 2017.
So how many years were there super
16.
teams?
So they had super teams in 17, 18, 19 is when they relaxed those rules.
Mm-hmm.
So the super teams era started when they dropped from teams of 6 to teams of 4. And that's when they relaxed the rules on who can kind of go for who. So that I feel like all of us are trying to make the argument for Froning, right? Because it's so blatantly apparent that Fraser was way more dominant as an individual. We're trying to find ways to argue for Froning, and there's definitely arguments there.
No, I think that Fraser's dominance as an individual is more impressive than what Froning's done over his whole career, simply because Froning, he won the 4 games, but he didn't win by the numbers. Only 2011 and 2012 were relatively impressive. He had a lot of events where he kind of bottomed out. Fraser did not after 2015. He didn't have any events where he struggled. He won by convincing margins minus 2019, which was a weird year.
It's tough. It's like 2019 and 2020.
It's
so hard because no questions asked, Fraser would have won those games, but it's such a weird year. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's like a little asterisk next to it.
Like you just can't take the points into play really in those 2 years. But like just the way he dominated, and 2015 is kind of around the time when the sport became like a global phenomenon, I guess you would say. That's when the numbers started to increase. That's when people started to do it more. That's when people started to pay attention to it more. So the level of athlete went up significantly too. Like the first few years that Froning was in the games, like we watched the 2010, the 2011 games, whatever it was. There was not a lot of impressive athletes. There was not a lot of skilled athletes, I should say.
Right.
So, like you're taking, like Rich was far ahead of his time for where he was at in the CrossFit space. Which, I mean, kudos to him. That's on him. He did that. But I just think the dominance of what Fraser did in the time that he did it, 2016 to 2020, 2015 to 2020, is more impressive than the totality of what Froning did over the last 10 years.
Yeah, so that's a strong argument, right? Like that's a pretty big matzo ball that hangs out there, right? In that Fraser competed in a much more mature sport.
Yeah. It was a real sport then.
Whereas
Rich did it when it was like in its backyard phase. It was coming out of it, but it was coming out of it, but they were still trying to walk. They weren't running yet.
Yeah, but couldn't that kind of be the opposite argument, like for Froning, by saying like he was dominant in an era where you didn't have these basically professional coaches, you didn't have a nutrition team behind you, you didn't have a guy that rubbed your back every time it tweaked. Like he was kind of playing street ball, to put it kind of like in the backyard terms, and still was dominant.
But what makes that more impressive?
The fact that he was able to win all these games without all that stuff that Fraser had when he came into a mature sport, as you put it. So Froning matured with the sport.
He was just more gifted and more athletic than the other guys.
And let's not get carried away here with the sport in the early part of the 2010s. Okay, it was still the 2010s. It wasn't the 1930s. All right, so like, and yeah, 2010 looks pretty rough. And but we talked about on the Rewatch podcast, when they jump from 2010 to 2011, it's a different sport. The programming's different, the appearance is different, the net that they cast is different. It was the introduction to the CrossFit Open that changed that sport and moving the games to Carson. So there were guys in 2012, 2013, 2014 that they were still very legitimate athletes, man. Like I remember every time we go back and redo a workout from like the 2009 games, I'll go back. I'll be like, okay, well, it's pretty obvious I would have won the games in 2009. Oh shit, Tommy Hackenbrook is a fucking animal.
Yeah, you definitely can't say that there weren't good athletes back when Froning was coming up.
Okay, let's talk about that then, because then so 2011 to 2012 to 2013, athletes started getting much better. 2012 or 2013 and 2014, he won, but it was tight. And we've all admitted that last day of programming on 2014, they wanted Rich to win. Like that's been a self-admitted thing, not a self-admitted thing, but like a thing that has been discussed on this podcast. So
side note,
factual.
I know it doesn't need to be said, but I just do need to say it. Head to head, Rich Froning had beaten Matt Fraser. Just want to say, and Rich Froning has 1 second place finishes in career. Fraser has 2.
Okay.
I know that's a cheap shot. It's definitely a cheap shot, but it needs to get thrown in there.
It's like it would be like saying Rich Froning in 2010, throw him in 2017 against Fraser. It's like the same kind of deal. So
yeah, and
back then Matt Fraser was still nice to everybody.
I'm gonna argue against my own point here, and I think this might be kind of the one that kind of ends it. Honestly, is if you go back and watch the CrossFit Games, let's say particularly in 2014, we'll say for sure. I'm not 100% certain Rich Froning was the fittest man on earth that year.
What year?
Let's just say 2014. Okay. But Rich Froning is the most mentally tough individual in that field and probably works harder than anybody else in that field, right? That's what makes Rich Froning great, and that's one of the reasons we love him so much as an athlete. And there's no question in my mind, every year that Matt Fraser won the games, he was the fittest man out there. Plain and simple, right?
Not even close.
But there's years where it's like, yeah, well, if Jason Khalifa knew how to throw a goddamn softball, he might have another games title on his hands.
Yeah.
2013
and 2014 were both questionable years. Like it took Sunday to win those games.
Yeah. So, but again, the argument we're having here isn't who's a better individual athlete.
No,
because there's no question it's Matt Fraser. It's just did what Matt Fraser accomplish outweigh what Rich Froning has accomplished on the team end?
My argument is Rich Froning's individual career wasn't dominant enough to prop up the dominance in the team to even the playing field with how dominant Matt Fraser was in his individual career against better athletes.
So here's my argument to that, though. Here's the argument I'll put out to that. In that Rich Froning, his accomplishments on team make his resume that much more impressive because it's not all on him. Right. So like I just said, the thing with Rich is like he works so hard and he's so mentally tough. Where there's 3 or 5 other people on that team, they could fuck that thing up for him. Right. So he has, if you watch him, I was watching him in the 2015 games today. And 2015, he was competing against Tommy Hackenbrook. He was competing against Jason Khalipa. He was competing against Pat Vellner. And when you watch him in those 2015 games, there's no question in your mind he's the fittest dude on the field. It's not close. And like when you watch it, you're like, because Mayhem, that team that year was like fine. But then every time it would get like Rich Froning would get up in a rotation in a workout, it's over.
When did the team competition start? Like when did they start doing team competition?
2010. Come on, man. Okay. We talked about it in the rewatch.
Rook.
Right, bro. I'm just trying to catch all our listeners up, man.
Cool.
Yeah, this is an educational piece.
Yeah,
so.
maybe some people out there didn't know, Dick.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I'm sure he was probably still the fittest person in the world in 2015.
Yeah. I just went back and checked too. Just in case you were curious, open finishes.
Yeah.
Rich Froning has 3 open wins in 2 seconds. Matt Fraser has 4 open wins and 1 second place. Son of a bitch. But
and 2017 to 2020, this is a tough argument because like what does Froning care at this point for open?
Right.
But Fraser beat him every year.
Right.
And it's not like he beat him by 10 places, which in the World Wide Open, that's like a freaking needle.
Right.
Nothing.
So, but like if you're going to start bringing up like 2012 to 2014, it's like, it's just hard to argue that.
Right. Also, I do want to throw this out here. If like winning the games is worth 1 point, winning the games on team is worth half a point. This is worth a tenth of a point. Okay. Rich Froning has several CrossFit Invitational wins. He's never lost. I think it just bears being said.
Boom. Represented America, Duncan.
Yeah.
You saying you don't like America? Is that what you're saying, Dunk?
That's what I'm getting out of that, you Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this podcast just took a turn for the worst.
Well, no, I'm just saying you put him out there, and again, it's just more team victories. And Fraser never did the Invitational, and the Invitational was awesome. So he's got that. I'm sure. What's that?
How long did the Invitational
with a broken back?
What's that?
How long did they do the Invitational?
2012 to 17, something like that. Somewhere around there.
He had like 2 years to do it, 3 years to do it.
Something like that. No, he has a problem with CrossFit. He had an issue with HQ and Castro, and he said, "Fuck you, I'm not doing the Invitational for you."
Nice.
He talked about that on some podcast.
I got you.
Yeah, that was a conscious decision that he made.
Okay.
So, but I'm saying just little stuff to keep throwing on that resume, baby. Just more stuff on
there. These team wins that are insignificant.
Yeah. Let's just throw it out there too. Froning is older. He's not much older, but he is older. So he has been doing it longer, and he's still competing at a high level, right? Like,
but let's not act like. I know, yeah, that's his call, but let's not act like Fraser wouldn't have won for the next 5 years.
I mean, fair enough, but he'll never get to.
Well, no, that. Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the career question because he decided to quit, or he decided to retire.
We'll throw this stat out there too. Rich Froning has won the liftoff as well.
For fuck's sake, get these stupid ass
And
that's all part of the resume, man. That's like
that's
the equivalent of when you submit your resume for a job and it's like proficient in Microsoft Excel.
Yeah. Decent finishes with the team series.
Decent, not first place though. That's a blemish.
A third, fifth, and a sixth. Well,
a sixth place finish is a blemish.
Fraser just can't play nice with people. We can't do team events.
Here's the problem with this whole thing is because I just dove so deep into every number.
Wait a second.
Wait, what?
Fraser beat Froning in the team series in 2015.
Well played. So I tried to just like dive into this though, to like have like numbers to go off of, like where's some statistical stuff. How can we make this like a numbers thing to kind of, get you can't, there's no comparison on numbers. It's the only way you can compare them apples to apples is their individual careers, and there's no argument there. Literally, there's no argument you can make that Fraser wasn't more successful. And it's like you're comparing, like, you're not even comparing apples and oranges, man. You're comparing like apples and like corduroy pants between their team and their individual career. Right. So it's seriously like it's a gut thing. Like it's like you just have to watch. You know what I mean? And
who do you think is like who are you a bigger fan of? Like, do you like Fraser more? Or do you like Froning more?
Froning. And I don't know. You tell me since you're a detractor at this point, or you've at least adopted the role of detractor. Does it
been labeled?
Yeah. Does it matter? Does it add to his resume the sort of culture that Froning has built? Right? Does it make Bill Belichick the greatest coach of all time because 30 head coaches for NFL teams have been assistant coaches underneath of him? Right? And when you look at Froning, is his career made more impressive by Fraser trained in his gym, Tia trained in his gym with him? He's also, he's given us Haley Adams. He's given us Matt Hewitt. He's given us, your boy Sam Fournier. He's given us Angelo DiCiccio, right? Like, does that improve his resume at all, or make it? Because, Fraser was pretty much, not completely, but by and large, a lone wolf in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it improves his resume. It's something cool to talk about while you're having this argument. But like, I don't think you can put that on. It's like, oh, well, Froning owns CrossFit Mayhem, and he has a lot of people that go there to train because it's the mecca of CrossFit gyms. If Brent Fikowski owned the same gym in California, people are going to go to that gym too because it's the best CrossFit gym in the world, or one of,
But I don't think that would necessarily be true because of just the way Froning is. Like, it seems like everybody who's around him gets better, not only in the sport, but personally, professionally, spiritually. Like, it doesn't seem like,
up until recently, but like, people are coming out saying he's kind of a dick.
Yeah, but people have always said Fraser was kind of a dick.
But Fraser,
that's a wash.
Fraser never hit it. But Fraser never hit it either. Like,
So I think the whole CrossFit Mayhem thing just kind of capitalized on where CrossFit was as a sport at the time. Like, he got out, he made his money in CrossFit, and he built this mecca of a gym, and it was like the first of its kind. Mm-hmm. And then that just became the CrossFit capital of, like, not the world. Like, you still have like Carson and Madison or whatever, but like, when you think of CrossFit boxes, you think of Cookeville. Like, everybody knows Cookeville now in CrossFit, but like, who cares about Cookeville, Tennessee, other than that box?
Well, I do want to say this too. The culture thing maybe had me thinking about this. As far as his team resume, and I do think this matters. You say that, like, oh, he had super teams, he won with super teams every year, but that's really not true. Okay, so let's think about those years that he won. So the year that he won twice with James Hobart and Matt Hewitt, who are both studs. They're both great athletes. But the females on that team were Ellie Kabord, Kristen Reffett, and the woman's name escapes me right now because she's the daytime manager for the gym at that time before they expanded to their new location. She was like 42 years old, and she was like a last minute addition to that team. I'm not done.
Okay.
They've also won now they've had was her name Kristen Miller? Mm-hmm. They won with her on the team. They won with Froning's cousin. They pulled out of the woodwork. They won, I think, 2 titles with him when Hobart left. Like, yeah, you can say the one in 2019, they kicked the living shit out of everybody because they had a pretty stacked team. But there's every single year that quote super team changes. And the one consistent thing that's been there every single year has been Rich, and it's been the same results every time.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like that's, and oh, spoiler alert for the 2015 rewatch podcast, which is coming up soon, listeners. Rich Froning, if you would have competed in the 2015, would have won the games. There, I said it.
I don't know, man. That's questionable.
Let's go rounds, baby.
That's questionable. Like
I just really like Ben
That's
Smith.
a whole other podcast. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we can start talking about
you
it now because I'll talk about this for an hour on the rewatch podcast. So we might as well start getting rolling with it now, so I get it out of my system. Rich Froning should be a 5-time CrossFit Games winner.
Matt Fraser should be a 10 times CrossFit Games winner, but like he left the sport, so.
But the thing is that's cool. It's like you said before we were on air. It's the Barry Sanders Emmett Smith argument, or you could say the Jim Brown argument. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could have, but you didn't. Like that's sports. You know what I mean? So all we can go off is what you have, because for all we know, Matt could have went one more year and broke his back again in training, and his career's over with.
Right.
And then we always have to win.
Your argument saying Froning would have won 2015. He wasn't impressive the 2 years prior. He won, but he wasn't an impressive winner the 2 years prior. And it took Herculean effort on the last day to win those games. There's no way that he goes into that being like, oh, yep, Froning's winning, book it. I'll put my money on it now. Like, especially with Fraser up and coming. I think if you run that game, the 2015 games back 10 times, Fraser wins more than Ben Smith does.
I mean, possibly, but the reason Fraser lost those games is because he's slow.
Yeah.
He can't climb a rope.
He took don't say that shit. You watched the documentary. No, because he took like a 38th and a 39th place in the sprint. The only person he beat in the sprint was Neil Maddox, who tore his hamstring on the run.
Yeah.
He literally had to walk around the cones. But for whatever reason, the 2015 leaderboard, if you look it up on, I've been looking up on my phone, it's been fucky, and it's hurting me for this rewatch podcast when I'm watching it. But I definitely believe it would have been tight. You can make obviously there's a very strong argument there that Froning would have lost to Ben Smith that year. You're not total. I don't think you're totally off base with that, but he definitely would have beaten Fraser again. Definitely, no question in my mind.
What makes you think that he wouldn't have tanked the first 3 workouts?
Okay, so I'm looking at the events right now, the ones I can see. I don't know why not all of them are up. The problem with that event is with the reason he would have a hard time beating Smith is the events that Froning would have done well on, Smith also did well on. Okay. Hold on, let me bring you guys back. Okay, so when you look at those events, the swim paddle, Smith did not do amazing on, and and everybody knows Rich Froning's an extremely strong swimmer. Okay, so we got to take Fraser out of it because Fraser took 2nd place, and he would have beaten Fraser.
We knew Froning was a strong swimmer back then.
Yes, absolutely, he was.
Got substantially better.
Yeah, because he got his ass handed to him in the beach event in 2011 or 12. Then I'm going off memory at this point. Murph would have been the kind of a make or break event for Froning, especially coming off that, especially coming off the 333s in 2014, which was not a strong event for him. Murph would have been a tough one for him, but I think Ben Smith got like 12th place. I think Froning could have beat him for sure. Just because, like I said, that event was all up here. There's no reason nobody in any one of those games can't handle doing Murph. It was just hot. Yeah. And then the Sandbag event. So this is a good one too. Sandbag event. I already went back and rewatched this event. The people that did well in the Sandbag were 2 people: taller people, and people that had experience in that event from 2010. Froning is both of those things.
And Matt Fraser.
Yeah, and Matt Fraser, but Matt Fraser wouldn't have beaten Froning.
He finished second place in the workout.
Yeah, but I'm saying he wouldn't have beat him in like those games.
Okay.
That sprint event alone would have fucked Fraser and the soccer chipper.
Hold on, let me read you the event finishes for Fraser though. It's pretty.
I know
funny.
he has like 7 podiums or something like that.
It's 12th. So I'm just going to go in order. I'm not going to say the workouts. It's 12th, second, 3rd, 2nd, 24th, 37th, 32nd, 4th, 1st, 2nd.
And he didn't win.
No reason why you shouldn't win those games.
I mean, good Lord.
Right. But those 3 events, that's just game over, man.
So he's a bad sprinter, but he just fucked up on the soccer chipper. like that was just bad on him.
So soccer chipper, Ben Smith won that event. It's tough. Clean and jerk. Rich Froning did a 1-rep max clean and jerk that year at the games, and it was higher than Ben Smith's. He would have won that event. What else am I forgetting? Because I can't remember all the events, how they went.
Triangle couplet.
I don't remember what that is. It's like
I don't either.
The final event, I think Froning would not have like crapped his pants as soon as he saw a pegboard. Like 78% of the field did. So, yeah, I just think I honestly, if Rich Froning had the commitment to the volume and the training volume and everything it took for him to win the games in 15, I think he wins the game one more time.
I think you're overrating him for like the swim and Murph. I don't think he finishes as well in those.
No, you're right. But what I'm saying though is he would have done better than Ben Smith. He doesn't have to be amazing at it. He just needs to beat Ben Smith and Matt Fraser.
Yeah, but I mean, Ben Smith finished 7th and 10th in those workouts.
He could beat him. And the sprint event in 2013 or whatever, like Rich Froning showed, like every time they did a sprint before that, Rich Froning's got wheels.
Wheels.
Yeah, he's got wheels.
Yeah, he finished first in the sprint chipper in 2013. Can't speak.
Let's go. And you're going to tell me Rich Froning's not going to handle a pig and legless rope climbs? Oh, wait, he already did that and kicked the shit out of everybody in that too. What's up?
Still don't think he wins.
I don't know, Doug.
You make a compelling argument. Don't think he wins.
All right. Let's put a button on this. So where are we falling? So we've unpacked most of the points I think we can think of here. We don't need to belabor this too far. So what do you guys think? Let's go around the table. Let's go 1 minute or less. I want you to tell me who you think had the more impressive career and why. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I'm
ready?
taking free.
Hold on. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm taking Fraser simply because of the individual dominance in a more impressive time for the sport than when Rich Froning started out in a much less skilled era. And he was less impressive in those years. Team is great, but a team is 6 to 4 people. It's not one person doing their own thing. So I'm taking Fraser based off of individual dominance.
All right. That was 30 seconds.
I'm a quick talker.
No, you can use the rest of the 30
Shorten
seconds.
to the point.
Your synopsis of resurgence in the remaining 30 seconds.
You want to plug anything right now? You like you selling anything or
all right, Roby.
Like my poster.
All right, Roby, you go.
I'm taking Froning still. I think over the totality of his career, whether it's from individual to team, he's just been more impressive with the way that he could transition from individual to team. I still think, even though Dunk says a team is more than one person, that's correct. Yes, that's how teams work.
Hold on, let me check your math on that.
Right? He makes everyone around him better. And he's a true leader when it comes to the sport. I think what he's done for the sport is very impressive. Not that Fraser hasn't done good stuff for the sport, but I just feel that overall Froning has made CrossFit a better sport and continues to make it a better sport while having a very impressive career over that time. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
All right. So now that we've like titrated it out, I'm holding myself to the same 1 minute time cap. Don't worry.
I want another minute to rebuttal.
No.
The math of teams.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go with Froning. To me, longevity matters. It's not Froning's fault that Fraser found the sport late. Froning's been doing it for a long time. No matter what change you throw at Froning, he has always risen to the occasion. No matter who, like how the games has. Don't forget, when Froning started, you could say it was a backyard sport. The sport kept getting better and getting more inclusive and casting a wider net and getting more competitive as he was a part of it. And he still won every year. Then he goes to the team side. That also continues to mature. His teams are changing. He's going against super teams, and he still brings home the gold. And furthermore, my closing point on why Rich Froning has a more impressive career is if you took Matt Fraser and you said, Matt Fraser, go start a team right now, I do not think that guy wins 4 consecutive CrossFit Games titles, or not 4 consecutive. I don't think he wins 4 games titles on team the way Rich does. I just don't think he would have done it.
Oh man, that's interesting because the team that he could put together would be something crazy.
Maybe, but Rich has beaten some pretty crazy teams.
Mm.
No, Invictus teams, Misfit teams, they're that team, that Alex Smith, Camille, that team.
Oh yeah,
they were loaded. You're talking about 4 individual games athletes on one team, and Rich beat them with Dre, their camera guy.
How many points did they lose to Wasatch by?
Like 35. They lost handedly, but it was tight.
Yeah. So even still, they're still not losing by a lot.
Yeah.
At that point, 35 points is kind of nothing in the teams.
But let's put a button on that one. If you guys think we're idiots, if you agree, if you disagree, if you want to confirm that I am in fact right, if you want to confirm that Dunk is in fact wrong, please leave us a review, leave us some comments, give us a follow on Instagram, give us a follow on Facebook. Thank you everybody for listening. Don't forget to get your jerk work in this week. Tag us in it. We'll see you guys as soon as possible. Later.